Good morning, everybody. Made back to Tulsa finally. Today's video is going to be on the Roasterie in Kansas City. I got right here. Their homepage here. As you can tell, this is actually one of my favorites that they have every year out. This is called their Autumn Harvest Blend, and this is a flavored coffee. It is a blend, and they, of course, as you can imagine, they have it out every fall. They have it available in decaf and regular coffee. But to give a good introduction about them is that they were the first coffee roaster I ever went to. It was in fall of 2018 is when I drove up there. Kansas City is about a 4-hour drive from Tulsa. And this is where I was properly educated really on the subject about craft coffee, the ins and outs of them. Where I learned about single origins, blends, flavored coffee, and making sure you use the right grind. Making sure you use the right grinders, just a number of different things I learned from them. They do have a nice lab set up at their downtown location in Kansas City. The founder of them was a real stickler. His vision and was about air roasting coffee. So they strictly pretty much do just air roasting, unlike more traditional drum roasting. He just uses hot air in all of his machines. Something you can tell right here is they do, like most of these places, they do have a certain amount before you can get free shipping. When the COVID pandemic and COVID lockdowns hit in 2020, they eliminated that because all their cafes were closed, were shut down, of course. I took advantage of that to help them stay in business. I was drinking a lot of coffee, as a lot of people were. I was working from home, and I still do. So I took advantage of that and just ordered a ton from them. They eliminated free shipping. For me, in Tulsa, they ship UPS. It takes about 3 days to get here. Now, something, full disclosure on all these places, is that they're not going to have everything on their website that they do in their store. That's something to keep in mind and remember whenever you go to these places or you order online from them. I've seen that firsthand with them, and I'm going to get into Onex in the next video and kind of cover that as well. So, let's click on here, Tour the Factory. And they do tours. There's even a bachelorette party that was going through when I did the tour of this place in 2018. For people out there who also like craft beer, this place is really close to the Boulevard Brewery in Kansas City. As you can imagine, the roastery opens up a lot sooner and earlier in the morning than the Boulevard Brewery because it is a coffee shop and people are going to have that early in the morning. It's not too far away. So what I did is I went and toured this place and then had lunch, went to the Boulevard Brewery. That's something to keep in mind if you're going to Kansas City. As two options, do one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and both are really good experiences, I might add. Now it says, here about watching your coffee roasted and blended in a package. Generally speaking, most of these roasters are not roasting on the weekends, full disclosure. The exception was, I went to Onex, and they were shut down 4 days because of a tornado, and they're having to make up for lost time on the weekends. So I'm going to get into more of that on that separate video. Pictures here, their setup and whatnot. Coffee experience you won't forget. Taking it to the next level. It's very informative. That's it. I learned quite a bit from them. It shows here about their cafes all scattered around the Kansas City area. They've taken off really good as the local roaster for the Kansas City area. The factory This is the only one I've been to. They do have them. They're separate. Leewood's a separate of them. Scattered around. Now, they are also on some subscription service. Misto Box, I did see them on, for example. These guys are on, and they have their own subscription. But those who like to use Trader Misto Box, they are on Misto Box as one option that you can circle with. And here's a little bit about their subscription service that they have. So, I mean, let's go over kind of what they have to offer. They do kind of a mix of everything: flavored, decaf, blends, single origins. They do some specials from time to time, and like Onex I'll get into eventually. That it is a place you can spend $15 if you wanted to, but you can spend $200 if you also wanted to. And they got cold brew. I'm going to make a separate video on decafs. Simply because they are really one of the best roasters I've had, at least when it comes to decaf, and there's another one I'll do. So as we can see here, I mean, most of these roasters, just like breweries, they have their seasonals out. The autumn harvest, it's August and they've got it out. I gotta put an order in the next week or so to get some. This is one of my favorites with them, and I do a nice Christmas Christmas flavored coffee I'll be getting to as well. But right out the start, you can see one. There's Honduran specialties for $40. Betty's recipe. This is flavored, different blends. Kansas City Chiefs been winning a lot lately, and they'll put out special editions just for the Chiefs winning. I've seen them do. As we scroll through here, another single origin, Ethiopian natural. The vibe of this place is really good. Overall, I really liked it. It's a really good experience going to the factory and doing a tour. That I highly recommend. And if you live, especially in Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, they are a really good place to start when it comes to learning craft coffee, to start ordering some and start trying it out. Arkansas is a little bit different story. I'll get into that eventually. So most of their stuff is blends, and they do have a few flavored, as you can see here. Breakfast blend. And whenever I've ordered with them, they roast everything on. They don't do it to the day you ordered it. So if you pay attention to most of these bags, they'll. Let me see. So pay attention whenever you get a bag of coffee from one of these roasters, is that they should have a roast on day. It's often like a little, like, let me show you right here. Like, this one doesn't have it there, but they usually it's like a price sticker that's usually here at the bottom that they show roast on date. This one, because the roaster it's from, it's got the roast date right there. So pay attention to that. That they often do these. The day you order them is when the day that they roasted them. That's certainly been the case with the roastery whenever I've ordered anything with them. But you put an order in on Friday, it's usually not going to get done till Monday because their packaging, roasting department, they don't work the weekends. They do tours and they run their cafe. But that's really about it. And they do have like a lab set up. You can kind of mix and match different flavors and different ingredients in your coffee to see what kind of flavor profile you get out of it based off your own preferences. They go over doing a pour over, a press, all those sorts of things. There's a lot to see and do, by the way, in the downtown Kansas City area. That's not too far from here. There's the National War I Museum that I went to, and Monument. And the barbecue of Kansas City is just amazing. There's plenty of that. Power and Light District. For anyone traveling there, it's something I would certainly recommend and make this your first stop in the morning to grab your cup of coffee, grab a quick bite to eat, do the tour, and then maybe do other thing, proceed from there, and maybe the Boulevard Brewery. You do need to make, with Boulevard Brewery, you do need to make those tours. You schedule those. There's schedule time slots that they have. I was down up there for Labor Day weekend one year. It was really, really busy, as you can imagine. Scottish Highlands is one that I've been needing to try out, but I've just not gotten to it yet. And Kona Blend, it's not entirely Hawaiian, but only part of it. Nitro Espresso. They do, during the summertime, they do make a nice cold brew to choose from. And for people that still work in the office, is that they do, most craft coffee roasters really are not doing a whole lot of this, but they do K-Cups. It is certainly an option for you. Perfect for people. They don't have it in all of theirs, but they do have some of theirs that they do have the K-Cup as an option for people that work in the office and use K-Cup machine like I used to use. I don't anymore. Um, they have sampler packs. They have quite a few sizes and blends, roaster's choice. So let me kind of pull one up here. And they do have a lot of options. If you don't have a good grinder, let's just take a look here at Super Tuscan Espresso Decaf. So 12-ounce bag, that's typical nowadays. That's kind of standard. But you can get 5-pound bags. You can get 2-pound bags. Then grind coarse, medium, extra fine. With flavored coffee is the only coffee I ever have. The roaster actually did a grind on it because I pretty much do the rest on my own. Prefer to do it fresh. Just I do not have a separate grinder for me to do just flavored coffee yet. I need to do that eventually. Just don't have the space for it at this time. Because they introduced me to it here was that don't put your flavored coffee in the same grinder you put everything else in because it's going to leave that residue behind because the coffee beans are literally like sprayed with a sugar to give it a particular flavor and that rubs off in your grinder when it's done. So, and you'll see this at grocery stores. They have a separate flavored and non-flavored grinder for that reason. So in the interim, I'm having them do mine. But yeah, see, a lot to choose from. Good place to start for a lot of people that kind of work your way through and try them all out. If you want to, then find ones you really like. The Christmas blend's going to be out after this autumn harvest blend is. Those are only out for the season, so I personally highly recommend focusing on those two in the interim. Sign up their email list for some of their special limited releases as well. I would certainly recommend. If you like the content of this video, like, subscribe. I've got about 10 more typed up. I'm going to be going over the different roasters eventually here. So, thank you all for watching.